Shabbat Shalom. We ended this week with Chazak, Chazak, V'nichasek. Be strong, be strengthened. We have finished, now we are finishing Bereshit, Sefer Bereshit, the first book of the Torah. And this book is very special, because this book is going to open up to us the introduction about the Borei Olam, our Creator, and how He created the universe of where we live, and how we were created, and the position of we as human beings in His creation. All these narratives, you can take a literal or you can take a allegorical. And people, when I say it in this way, many people get upset with me because some of them become very fanatical and literalist. To me, it's not as important about is the letter, is this or that, but what is the message, what the Torah is giving to us. And through all this year that we have been looking at Bereshit, durante this portion of the year, one of the things that we have seen is a narrative that has been developing little by little about, first of all, God created the world, then the humanity, and how the humanity is going to be destroyed because of the perversion, and then a new creation, and we have Noah and his children, and then after that, 10 generations later, we are going to bring Abraham Avinu, our father Abraham, with Lech Lecha. He leaves everything to follow the Creator and to take it to the land that He's going to give it to the people that later on is going to become Israel. In this portion, we are going to be at the end, we're going to see our forefathers, our father Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob passing through, giving us their life and giving us their teachings that we can learn from them. And finally, also we are going to see in this one, the ending of Joseph. And then the next week, we are going to start with the second book of the Torah called Shemot, or Exodus. And in this book, we are going to see the beginning of the slavery of Israel in Egypt. It's going to say, it came a new Pharaoh who didn't know Joseph. And this is the beginning to understand the situation of Israel and the time that they spent in slavery before being delivered. In this time, something that has emphasized to all of you is about how the Torah speaks about our heroes on the Bible, especially our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and talks about them in a way that they are very human. They have wonderful sides and they have very bad side, And when you see something good, what it tells you? Imitate that. When you see something bad, what it tells you? Don't do that. And you need to learn from the mistakes of others too. And you need to learn also to check on yourself. And this is the idea what the Creator has given to us when He makes us men and women, when He makes us human, giving us this possibility for us to make our own decisions, to act according to our own ways, and to be responsible for what we do. All of that we have been seeing in these heroes of the Bible. No one is perfect. There is no perfection. Other religions, they're trying to build up, or they're trying to make an individual perfect. That perfection doesn't exist. The only one that will be totally complete is the Creator. And we are His creatures. We are not like Him, even though He made us. Then here, in this last parasha, last portion, Vayechi, and he lived. It's interesting that we had before in Hayei Sarah, and she lives, and both times that we say he lives or she lives, what do we have? We are talking about the death of these very special people. In the Hayei Sarah, the death of Sarah and the death of Abraham Avinu. Here we are going to see the death of Jacob and the death of Joseph. But what do you mean he lived? I just went through, and I saw in a newspaper, a very interesting, and they were talking about tours and touring and traveling. But I love the commercial, the title. And it said, life is a journey, it's not a destiny. And I looked back immediately in Jacob. Jacob, in chapter 47, before this parasha begins, he's going to have an encounter in Vayechi, in the last portion. Finally, Joseph reveals to his brothers, and he brings his father back. And then Jacob have an encounter with Pharaoh. And in this encounter, Pharaoh, I don't know why, but he asked, how old are you? He must be really very old, you know? And he said, I am 130 years old, and my years have been come and by. They have been hard, difficult, and they have not been easy. You know? 130 years in his journey. How many of us at this moment that we are here in this place, how many of us we can say, you know, since I was born, I am not asking to the young people who were born here, but how many of you say, you know what? I wanted to live in Montreal the rest of my life. Okay? How many of you decided that when you were young, that you were going to end it in Montreal? And this is something that you're going to see that many of us, we are in a journey. And it's still today, even that we are in, maybe some of us like me, we are in our last days, we are going to be here, you know, maybe our destiny will be we will end it someplace else. Jacob was in that situation. He already felt that he was going to die in Eretz Israel. You know, 130 years. Yeah, that's what the end of his life. He lost his favorite son. Life was not, and suddenly has a renewal in life. And not only that, but because of that, he ended dying outside Eretz Israel, in Mizraim. You know, the word Mizraim means something very narrow. You know, and I imagine it because of the Nile River, and this very, you know, the Egypt is based on that in agricultural, and it's only depending on the Nile River. But anyway, I don't want to go there. What I want to say is he ended in a place that he never looked forward to be. And here starts this new portion. He basically called his son the viceroy of Egypt, and I said, please swear to me. Interestingly enough, he made him swear twice. You know, and the question is, being him the viceroy, he needed to ask him a favor and to swear twice that he will be buried in Israel with his father, with his relatives. And there are many conjectures and many things one way or the other. Some of the rabbis say that he didn't have the right to ask his son to swear because his son was a very high, and besides, you don't ask anybody who is your relative or personal that you trust to make swear something. You know, it's very interesting to use three opinions, and everybody going to have their opinion. But to me, it's only to look at the narrative and to see, not to trying to make somebody bigger than the other or holier than the other. And this is the problem that we constantly have. It's like the Creator has given me the right to defend my heroes. Let them defend themselves. You don't need to defend them. That's what is written. Check it why. And he did something that was not totally right. What you do? Well, he's human, you know, and then he's going to try to make it right. That's all. But why he did that? I am sure that Jacob knew about the circumstances of his son, that even being the viceroy, he has certain responsibility with Egypt. And you know, and he couldn't take away, you know, the respect and reverence for Pharaoh. If you live in Egypt, and you were the Pharaoh in Egypt, and you think Egypt was the greatest country in the world, and you say, you know, it's like here, no? You are in Canada. I'm going to put it in this way because we are in Canada. And Canada is a power, is a fruitful nation, has a lot of things. And then, when you go into that, you say, I want to be buried in my country. You little bitty country that you come from. You know, people say, this person must be crazy, you know, something wrong with it. But here, Pharaoh was going to be insulted. Jacob knew that because what they liked, the pomposity to make pyramids, to do things to bury their very important people. You know, what is going to be? Do you remember? We are going to see later on in the book of Exodus, when Israel was fleeing from Egypt, the Egyptians start pursuing them. What did they say? There were no better tombs in Egypt. Why they want to be buried here in the middle of nowhere? You know, better tombs. And that's what Pharaoh was offering. And we're going to see that what Jacob was. Jacob was very wise man. He asked his son to swear him twice to be sure, because in that way, Joseph could go to the Pharaoh and say, and in chapter 50, we are going to see that the interaction between Joseph and Pharaoh. My father has died, and he requested me. He made me swear to bury him. And what did Pharaoh say? Well, if your father make you swear, you need to keep your word to your father. You see? Then Joseph was not the one that wanted to bury his father in Egypt. Or in Israel, I'm sorry. It was not Joseph. But it was his father who insisted. Because he wanted to do a beautiful ceremony here in Egypt. No? And everything changed, and he sent a commission, a delegation, and they buried him. Not only after that comes another problem. The brothers. Finally, they went to the land of Israel. All the Hittites and the Canaanites and all of them, they were surprised and excited to see the caravan and the delegation, and they didn't even know what was going to happen to them. And these Israelis who left with their head down are coming back like the big machers, you know, and they do the bury there, and they do all the things that they need to do, and suddenly they are coming back to the land. By the way, the Pharaoh allowed them to go, but the children and the animals, they needed to stay in Goshen. Okay, you need to read carefully all the details. But what I want, basically Joseph was saying, don't worry, we are not going to stay there. We are coming back. No, and Pharaoh sent a group of guards with them. But on the way back, the brothers start shaking their legs. You know what? We need to tell somebody, to tell Joseph that our father, before he died, asked us to tell you, to promise that he was not going to do anything to us, that he was going to forgive us. And here comes a subject that is very important to all of us. It's about true forgiveness. You know, sometimes maybe you have asked forgiveness, but there are situations in which you really do not feel forgiven. And look at what I say. You do not feel forgiven. Okay. And the question is, what needs to be done in order that you feel forgiven? And it's the relationship with the person. You know, many people say, I forgive you, but I don't want to see you the rest of my life. Right. You know, that's not forgiveness. No. You know, forgiveness really means that is you erase and you start again. No? The past is the past, but you need to start again. And you need to start again the relationship. And they had not felt that relationship. They were not sure about that. Why? Because of the position of Joseph. It's not that Joseph didn't want to forgive them. They had very obvious was that he totally forgave them. There was no question about that. It's how they felt. And finally, at the end, what did he say? Again, Joseph repeats to his brothers, all of this that you did against me, what God intended for good, to save you and to make you. Don't worry. You are being forgiven. And that reassurance made Israel to prosper in Egypt. But that was temporarily. The Creator had another place. The journey was not ending there. There was only a time, like in a station. You know, when you are traveling, you go from place to place, and you stop in certain places, but it's not for you there to put your roots. It's only to stop, to rest for a while, to rebuild, and to continue the journey. My question to all of you is this. How many of us, we have stopped our journey? How many of us we have already given up? How many of us we think there is nothing more for us? You see, life doesn't end for us through the Torah. Tell us that life continues. We are only through different stops. And we are going to see at the time that Israel leaves Egypt and is delivered, they are going to go through different stations too. And they are going to have a journey. Because the final destination is to be in the presence of the Creator. And if that's the final destination, you need to know that the Creator is with you from the beginning. Right. Then your destination is not as important as the journey. Right. How do you live your life here with us? And this is the beautiful teaching that we can get from Vayechi. Life doesn't end, continue. For many of us, I always give this when I do certain funerals. I need to speak about it. I say, you know, it's only a simple goodbye. It's only a simple I see you later. Because pretty soon, we are going to be together again. And this is why, for us who believe that life continues, death is not the ending, is only a new beginning. Have you ever thought about this idea? Sometimes I shared it before, but I don't know if you remember. Do you know that a birth is a death and is a living again? You know, when a child is on the mother's womb, what kind of breathing has the child? It's breathing to the mother, no? To the amniotic liquid. To the child is like a fish. That's how the child survives. That's how the child breathes. And then, what happens when you take a fish out of the water? Dies. What happens when a baby comes out of the mother and get to the air? He needs to die to breathe again and start life. In many groups, they say that we are born to die. But the Torah teaches that we are born to live. Even the Creator in the Varim said to them, I give you to die. I give you life and I give you death. I ask you to choose life. This is what we are learning from here. And your life is important. And sometimes you do not realize how much we affect others. Even when we don't think we are affecting anybody. Our presence is important. Each one of us counts. And when we are not together, we see the difference. We miss each other. Then we need to start learning about the importance of our own presence. Yes, each one of us, we bring something. My dear Mildred, it's very important that you're here with us. Baruch, we are so happy that you're with us. And everybody here, the rest, all of you, your mere presence makes a difference. And we thank you for that. May the Lord bless you and have a wonderful Shabbat.